Welcome to another episode of Inside Abode, ladies and gentlemen. How y'all doing? I'm your host, Dave Jones. We are in the middle of our busiest season of the year, so I'm glad y'all with me. And I know you're probably busy too. It's spring and everybody's like getting ready for graduations or getting ready to go on vacation at some point in time soon. We're in May and you have June. It's just a good time of year. And the real estate market for us is extremely busy. And I will go over data points at some point in time, but that's not going to be today because we have a special guest today. Before I get into that, I'm going to also invite you to subscribe to the podcast. It's free. Or tell your friend, you know what I mean? Like tell your friend that we're over here like spitting gems and telling people good things about Tacoma and surrounding areas. And there's also real estate knowledge here. And if you want something else, like if you're, into investment minded stuff or sports or anything like that, you can go to Brick by Brick podcast too. I record those on these days as well. So that's a different audience, different thing, but it's still going on. And we're addressing different areas of real estate for other athletes and things of that nature. Go over, tap on Brick by Brick podcast, and then subscribe there too. And also hit us up on YouTube. So this is on YouTube. This is on Spotify. This is on Apple Podcasts. All right. That's enough there. So let's get into my guest today, ladies and gentlemen. My guest today is the founder of MoveToTacoma.com. Can you believe that? We have a special guest that is the founder of MoveToTacoma.com. She also was doing videos with Ann, my wife, back in the day when they both were in real estate. She was been in real estate since 2005. So that's a long time, very experienced. We'll talk to her about if she sells real estate or not. I'm going to leave that as a cliffhanger and I'll let her answer that question. And then she also is an Inman News Innovator nominee. So the Inman Innovator Award. So she was a nominee for that. And she was a Fair Housing Champion in 2021. And there's so many other more awards that I could say right now, but I'm not going to say those because I want to bring her out here. Marguerite Martin, ladies and gentlemen, how you doing?
I love that intro. I feel like I'm like running on like this. Great to be here.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit, tell the audience about yourself. Some people that might not know you, tell us about yourself.
Well, yeah, I'm Marguerite Martin, and I am a Tacoma real estate agent, and I started Move to Tacoma.com back in 2015. And I also do, coaching and consulting for people in our business, helping real estate agents get more clients that they love. I have like 12 jobs.
12 jobs. He got 12 jobs.
I'm exaggerating.
I know. So tell us, like, what was your inspiration behind start? Also, no. Before I get to that, I want to ask, do you still sell real estate? I want to put the pin in that one.
So I am a Tacoma real estate agent, licensed to sell real estate in Washington State. I'm legit. And also, I have not personally transacted since 2017.
Okay.
My job now is finding people their realtor.
Okay.
So people come to me and they're either moving to Tacoma or they need to sell their house here. Maybe they live here or they live out of state and have to sell a house. And they're looking for a realtor that specializes in the thing that they're doing. And my job is to be all up in the business of all the realtors and figure out who has what expertise and who has what personality and work with the client to figure out, okay, what kind of agent do they want? And then find the agent for them, put them together. And then the agent pays me a finder's fee out of their commission.
Okay. So that's, to be really knowledgeable. So that means you've put a lot of time not only have you sold, so you know that side of the business, but you also have put time into like putting content into Tacoma or making content about Tacoma and interviewing people and making content about businesses and areas and stuff like that. So you have a pretty extensive knowledge by doing that, right?
Well, this is what I mean by it feels like I have 12 jobs because I need to convince clients online that I know a lot about Tacoma, which I do, which means I need to be constantly figuring out how does Tacoma work, what's going on in Tacoma, and sharing that with the public and building that trust. But I also need to be building trust with the realtors and finding out from them, what do you do really well? What kinds of transactions, what's happening in the market? Because I'm not in the deal the way that I was. So I rely on that information from them. So it's like I feel like I'm always just trying to pull information and people together. Like that's what I'm doing.
What was the inspo for that? Like, did you just wake up one day and was just like, I'm good. I think I'm going to start this podcast? What, like, I don't know, how did that even come about? Because you guys were, because
No,
I was there.
yeah.
I was there when y'all were making
You
videos. Like,
were.
that was a thing. Like, and I mean, I think, oh no, you know what? I remember I actually made the intervention one at our house.
The
Remember that? We had the
video.
sign.
Yes.
That one was funny.
Yes. We should link it in the show notes. It's a
I
classic.
know, you really should.
We need to
That
clean
was
up the
hilarious.
audio with AI, but
Hey, I don't think it was made
we
in
were
what, like 2000,
bootstrapping.
yeah, like that was like 2000, like 10 or something. I mean, 2011 or something like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, so you guys were making videos, and then like this came about. Was it like kind of on accident, or was it just something, I don't know, that you were doing for real estate, and then you're like, oh, I think I'm leaning into this a little bit more.
Well, after the housing crash in 2008, I switched companies, and that's where I met Anne, your wife, owner
Okay.
of this office, and started like there weren't a lot of young people in real estate at that time. I think people forget now. We were in our early 30s, but like back then a lot of the young people had to get out during the crash because they just
Mm,
didn't have enough business to survive it. So it was a little bit lonely, and it was as social media and other multimedia type experiences were kind of coming up in real estate, nobody knew how to do it and nobody knew what to do with it. So the
yeah.
great thing about getting to know Anne was she knew how to do a little editing, and so did you. And so we were able to put some videos together talking, doing something which it's laughable now, right? We explained how real estate in our community worked by answering questions and having conversations with each other and sharing that with the general public. And then those people would be like, well, that agent seems nice. And they would like reach out to us. And I
Yeah.
specialized in buyers at that time. I only worked with buyers after the crash. And Anne is, one of the greatest listing agents of all time. And so we would kind of draw sort of different clients from those videos, and it worked really well. But Move to Tacoma was more of an extension of the focus on buyers. So
Okay.
at that time, I mean, it's almost impossible to imagine now, but buyers didn't make quick decisions when they were buying
Yeah.
because prices really weren't going up. And sometimes they
Yeah.
went down a little. And what I discovered was relocating buyers, they had to make a decision and they were fun
Mm,
to work with. And what would happen is these clients that were coming from out of area, they needed all this information about Tacoma. They were fun to work with and they would Google it and they would find it wasn't like today, where there's a million creators making content about the local
yeah.
communities all over the country, right? Like back then, it was like, it wasn't even really Reddit. It was like these random internet forums and it was
Right.
terrible. And so it was
It
like, okay,
was
I'm going to make
terrible.
it was terrible. And so I was like, I'm going to make, and I'd been going to Inman conferences with Ann and seeing some of these new companies that had like beautiful neighborhood guide type websites. And I was like, I want to do that for Tacoma. And,
Mm,
I had people telling me, like, you should do that for the state or you should do that for the county. And I was like, no, 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 like Tacoma. And it's so funny now because I talk to realtors now about creating something like this. And I'm like, Tacoma's too broad. You can't do Tacoma now. You got to do
right. Yep.
South
Facts.
Tacoma. You got to, but back
Yeah.
then, one city was like, wow, like
Mm-hmm.
very niche. And so that was the
Yeah.
idea is if somebody was scoping out Tacoma, trying to figure it out, that they would have a resource. And then the other thing I did as I put it together was I did surveys to the community for people to talk about their own neighborhoods. And this is something that I've been trying to do better and better with every year that passes, right? Like there's so
Okay.
many people that have so many opinions, conflicting opinions about
Right.
pretty much every neighborhood in the city and probably every neighborhood in the world. And so to get the people who actually live there front and center talking about what it's like, I think that's the thing that I'm most proud of and that I want to keep doing better and better.
That's good. Like, you brought up the point about the internet and how like people have conflicting views of things. How do you handle that? Because that would be hard for me because you know how some people go, well, jump in the comments of whatever a Facebook post or whatever post, and I've been watching it, and I'm like, you know how people have things to say about Tacoma or
Hmm.
whatever,
Hmm.
and now you find yourself you're trying to do something right, like you just heard your intent, and now you
Yeah.
have someone that's coming in with nasty energy basically. And how do you navigate those comments that are negative about Tacoma on the Move to Tacoma site? Like, that's just interesting to me.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like there's two categories of like, let's call it negative feedback on the content, right? And I think the first category, like it all used to hurt my feelings. And now
Yeah.
it doesn't, none of it hurts my feelings anymore. I've been on a journey. But like
Huh?
the kind of content that I think is pretty cut and dry and easy to deal with is you'll mostly see it on Facebook and no shade, but it's mostly men. It is, like,
Plenty of shade. I know
am I
this.
allowed to say the S word on the Abode podcast? Okay,
The
so
open air.
I'm quoting trolls, but they'll say like Tacoma is a shithole. And that
Yeah.
word in particular, I think is always a little bit of a red flag. Or they'll say, I would never live there. It's a disaster. It's unsafe. Everybody knows that's a horrible place. You're a liar.
Mm,
Right. It's the
mm.
Facebook comments from a particular set of folks is it's pretty intense, but it's also kind of silly. Like I live
Yeah,
in
yeah.
downtown Tacoma. Like this is amazing. And we have freaking orcas frolicking in the bay. We have a coastal
Facts. I
city. We
just
have a
saw one last
saltwater
weekend.
coast. We have
I
a
saw a gray whale. Sorry.
coastal saltwater city with a median home price of $550,000. Like this is Shangri-La. Like this is amazing. And like I'm comfortable and settled and secure in that now. So when I see that, what I mostly feel is a little bad. And I've started blocking people. And this was on the advice of Chris Stodinger from Pretty Gritty. Excuse me, for Pretty Gritty Tours. He came on my podcast. I was like, how do you handle the negative comments? Because they're so mean. And he was like, I delete
hmm
them. I block them. And I was like, you're
Hey, there you
silencing
go.
people's voices? I was like, oh no. But then I was like, these people, I felt bad for them. Like they are truly in the wrong place. They have been rabbit holed within an inch of their life on Facebook with crime. If your
Yeah.
algorithm is not pruned and preserved, you're going to get a lot of crime information, a lot of news, a lot of propaganda that's going to
Yep.
convince you that any city is a terrible, dangerous place full of people who want to do you harm. And that is not what Move to Tacoma is going to ever say. We're never gonna say bad things about any neighborhood. So yeah, I just like they're having a bad day, and so I delete and block them. Occasionally, Dave, you know me, I will engage.
Yep.
I will tussle a
You
little
got
bit.
time. Occasionally
I
you
got time
got
some days.
time. You got
Sometimes I got
time that
time,
day.
and I'm like, you're mean and rude, and I'm embarrassed for you because you're also uninformed. Like,
And if
whatever.
so, yeah, and if someone takes that time to make that comment, it's it says more about them than you, kind of, especially if depending on what your intent is, which your intent is to educate people on the city. So I mean, I think that's a good way to delete. I maybe should probably start doing that sometimes.
It depends. Use my do I have time, and is there something constructive that can come out of responding to this
Right,
that
right.
other
That
people
part. That
watching
part.
can learn
Yep.
from?
Yep.
I
That.
think on the other end, though, there is a type of negative comment. Like, I am not of the policy that, like, oh, delete all negative comments. Because there are plenty of people, I think, that have criticism for things I post, that have kind of legitimate criticism.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think if I didn't know me in 2026 and I saw me and the name of my website scrolling through my feed, I think I might not like it too. And that's one of the things, I've
Mm.
talked about this with you. Moved to Tacoma.com in 2015 before the housing boom. Like, we were not booming in 2015. We did not
Right.
have
Right.
price increases in 2015, right? Like, so it meant something different than it means now.
Yep.
And if people are like, hey, girl, maybe don't tell people about Tacoma. Like, we have rising rents, we have rising prices, we are being displaced. Like, maybe don't tell people to move here. I understand why people would say something like that. So that is not a delete and block situation. That is like a legitimate conversation, right?
Yeah. And I think the other thing too, and I just want to preface the whole conversation with this in terms of just move to Tacoma in general. It's one person's perspective. You know what I mean? Like if you gave this project to someone, say that came up in another area of Tacoma, it would look completely different in terms of who they had on the show, what they talk about, blah blah blah. So I mean, like, I want people to chill out. You know what I mean? Like, this is a very educated source, a very thoughtful source, and I think that it's great. But I think that people need to like fall back if they have a problem with it, or go do their own version of it. There's always that option
Or
too. Like,
but
yeah,
also, Dave, I'm really I've really tried to. Sometimes it hurts my feelings. Sometimes I get a little heated, but I try to hear it. I try to figure out, like, okay, some of this I can't do anything about, but how can I interview different people? How can I, elevate different voices that are outside of, there was early feedback when Ann and I made videos of like, oh, you went to like the white girl places.
yeah, yeah.
And it was like, oh yeah, like we can
But
explore a
also,
little more. We can go some other places.
yes, that, and you're two white ladies. Like that's just I mean, there is some reality to, like, yeah, if I was making that video, I'd probably go somewhere different because that's where I frequent more because I'm different,
Mhm.
and that's okay. Like, I don't think we have to feel bad about that, but I do think acknowledging that is important. Like, because there's some
Well,
people
and
that'll go through and their voice is the the main authority. It's like, nah, hold on a minute. You're one person, of a city of 250,000 or whatever.
well, and I certainly did not realize, when I started the website, the podcast was kind of like oh, I should do a podcast to get attention for the website. And then eventually it's like, oh, and there should be a Facebook and a YouTube and like that all came out of the initial, like I just thought
Yeah.
people would Google it and find the website. And then there became all these other things. And then over a period of 11 years, that's a long time. A couple of those platforms have really, Facebook has
Yep.
10,000 followers. Instagram has, I do not need those accounts to have that many followers to do the thing I do over here in the corner, right? But
Yeah.
so now I have a responsibility. When you have
Right. That
2,500
part.
followers, you don't have a responsibility to the community to
Mm-hmm.
like
That.
engage diverse voices and collaborate and elevate others. Well, now, okay, I have a little more responsibility
Yep.
now. It's not just, don't worry, it's just me doing my corner of the internet. I'm just one voice, go start your own thing. It's like, okay, well, how can I help support other people? And that's
Yep.
been, through Channel 253, trying to get other voices out and finding ways to collaborate with people. I think that's the opportunity with Instagram and YouTube allowing collaborations.
Yep.
I'm looking for those opportunities.
Yep. And I think it's a both and. Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So let's jump to like more of the real estate specific stuff. Who, when you started this, certain buyers and sellers were finding you and finding the website versus now, 11 years later. Is there a difference between those two? What they're looking for, things of that nature?
Yeah.
Or how has that changed on the buyers and sellers, like the people that the site attracts and what they're looking for? Has that changed at all over the course of time?
It's definitely changed. And there are like, there's people that follow the account that are in Tacoma, that are in the community, that kind of know me or like keep up with me and reach out to me. And that's kind of a different thing than true strangers that are coming from other parts, not that are not in Tacoma, that are coming in from the website. And that used to be, in the beginning, it was very heavily like Seattleites. So
Okay,
Seattleites priced
interesting.
out of Seattle. If you think about it, in 2015, I remember thinking like, oh, it's so expensive up there. Their median home price was like $450,000. I'm like, how are they doing that?
Yeah.
And they were going to, the millennials, the largest generation in home buying history, the Seattleite millennials were going to their lenders and getting pre-approved and realizing we can't really find anything in Seattle. And so they were looking at Tacoma as an option. And I had a lot of
Okay.
clients that have, by the way, turned out to be some of the coolest Tacomans. They've
Mm-hmm.
turned into excellent Tacomans.
Yep.
We got basically during that time, we got their artists, their web developers, their musicians. We got several famous musicians from
Mm.
Seattle down here in Tacoma. It was a boon for us. I know that there's a narrative that's like, oh, these shitty slickers, these Californians and Seattleites coming here and ruining everything. It's like there is nuance to this story.
Right.
So that was the
No.
beginning. It was a lot of
Okay.
that.
Okay. Interesting. And I think that, do people move? I guess the part that is interesting to me about what you do, because and this is what I think our agents go through as well, is when someone says, what's the best part of the city I should move to? Or something along
Golly.
those lines. It's such a
Yep.
loaded question. And
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think people realize how much skill it takes to navigate that question, for one. And also, I feel like it always comes with another set of questionings, for me,
Yeah.
from me to the person asking. It's like, all right, well, what are you looking for? So how do you navigate
Well,
that
and
question?
normal people, non-real estate folk, do not understand why that question is loaded. And I've made some reels about it in the past, and people will just be like, that's my realtor's job to tell me where to live.
Right.
And I want to be like, okay, so quick history lesson. Realtors actually segregated America.
Yeah.
And there's laws about how we can talk to people about neighborhoods because we have a propensity to group people together by race. And I think like learning from, I met Nate Bowling, the former Lincoln High School teacher and host of the Nerd Farmer podcast on Channel 253. Like I
Hmm.
met him through you too. And he was the one that explained to me that we are more segregated now than
Yep.
before Brown v.
Facts.
Board. These are things I
Yep.
did not know for most of my career as a realtor. And when I found them out, like fair housing, not steering, all that stuff. I was like, yeah, obviously not. But I've taken it a lot more seriously since then because you start to realize
Yeah.
our clients, the general public, they don't realize they're asking to be steered.
Yep. Yep.
They are asking to be. They would not phrase it this way, but I think most people like they're saying like, well, where will I feel safe? And I'm like, well, what
Mm.
makes you feel safe? And that sounds like a dodge to them, but I'm like. And then I'll give the example. I'll be like, some people only feel safe when everybody in the neighborhood looks like them. And they're like,
Mm.
oh, no, that's not what I mean. I really care about diversity. I just want really good schools. And I was like, well, in
Right.
America, historically, good schools means well-funded schools, which means white schools. it's kind of the same thing. And they're like, oh my God. And I'm like, I know. It's not an easy thing to do. And this is where, to bring it back to like neighborhood videos, surveys of the neighbors, asking people who live there. And I think there's another layer of nuance because I spend some time on Reddit and
Yeah.
Tacoma Reddit. And there's always
Yeah.
anonymous people that will say bad things about every neighborhood. And it's very easy to particularly talk bad about the neighborhoods that are historically under-resourced, that have the lowest price points. And
Hmm.
it's so funny to me in as a real estate agent looking through the lens of these comments, like nobody's asking this person what their budget is. It's like, well, I
Let's
want to live near
talk
a park.
about it.
Well, because I want to live near a park and a coffee shop and a business district. It's like, okay, well, pretty much every neighborhood in Tacoma has those
100% of
things.
people probably want to do that. Well, not 100%. There's
Yeah.
some people that want to just be left alone and
Yeah,
go
or
live
you
in the
want to live
woods,
in the
but
burbs, which is again,
yeah,
which burbs? Because your budget's going to dictate that, right?
facts.
And to say like, okay, well, if you have $900,000 to spend on your 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, that's going to give you pretty much any neighborhood in Tacoma. And if you
Hmm.
have $450,000, that's going to give you like two. So let's start there before we start riffing on the entire city. Anyway, I could go on about this forever, Dave. You got to shut me down because I get so riled up about it.
No, I mean, I have to deal with it all the time as well, and that's why I kind of make some of the content that I make and do the things I do because I want people to be exposed to other parts of Tacoma that they may not see or know or just
Absolutely.
socially may not be privy to, just so because, like for example, this morning I'm at the high school and that's a whole different group of people that I'm in community with, that are
Yep.
teachers and students and kids in college that are struggling to figure out. I had a kid, CJ, shout out to CJ. He just pulled me aside and he's about to graduate and he's running a car detailing business. And he's just like, man, I need to
Awesome.
do XYZ. Should I do this or this? You know what I mean? And he's just a 18-year-old just trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? And so I think it's important that, especially as we get older as I get into this real estate space more and I'm aging, not aging like I'm gonna die soon or nothing like that. But like I'm in a different social circle now, and I want to make sure that I continue to keep all of my different social circles going
Yeah.
because it's important for my own humility and it feeds me actually. It fills my bucket in addition to
That's
that.
awesome.
So my question, so that's a lead into this next question, which is have you learned anything or what are you most surprised about what you've learned about Tacoma over the course of doing this project as you fleshed it out? Are there things that you came in thinking that you knew about Tacoma and then were like, damn, I had no clue about
Yeah.
about
Yeah, I think I'm definitely right now, and I reserve the right to answer differently in 5 years. But I'm definitely back in that. I am back in that know nothing mind about things. Like there was a period where I was like, I'm the expert, and like I
Yeah.
definitely don't think that anymore. Like I mean, I think there's a certain
I mean, you
humility that
are,
comes from
but
plugging in and trying to learn a lot about a place. It's like what you said at the very beginning, right? Like your experience, the communities that you would plug in with, and the spaces you would move in are different than the ones that I am easily plugging into and moving through, right? And so I think I went through a whole period of disillusionment after 2016 where I was very interested in civic life
mm.
and elections and influencing elections and holding elected officials accountable, and I really was very idealistic in a way that I think many of us were, not maybe not you, Dave, but like some of us got a little thought things could get better.
And here we are in 2026 and the
Well, and they
flipping
can get better,
voting
of
acts
course, but
right is never sorry,
the vote,
I'm
yeah,
in here
Tennessee is
yelling.
not having a
But
good day.
yeah, anyway.
And I think like the thing about that is, of course, things can get better, and of course, civic engagement is important, and it's messier than maybe me as a white lady in 2016 wanted to believe. We have a problem. We just need to get involved. And it's like, no, like it's really complicated. And also in a small city, it's extra complicated. And this is what I'm really grappling with now. Like, let me know if you want to grab a coffee and talk more. But like, when you're in community with people, when it's such a small city and you have so much access, like you and I both know the mayor of Tacoma. That's
Right.
access. Like this is a peer. This is someone we know. We know all kinds of people. And when you
Right.
have that kind of access, it's very hard to hold people accountable, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's something in Tacoma that we struggle with, and something I'd like to understand better as around civic engagement, because it can just get very frustrating.
Yeah, you're mixing business with pleasure and personal. I mean, I think the two
And you
can
have
mix well
to.
sometimes and sometimes they don't, and That's just part of life.
Well, and like I I don't want to say, like there's this whole idea of like cancel culture. And I mean, did anybody really get canceled? It kind of seems like nobody really did in the end. But people have a real fear of the possibility, and that idea of community ruptures that happen. And especially in a
Hmm.
place as small as ours, right? Like, to be holding people accountable, and being held accountable in public in front of
Hmm.
people, and to step up to that, and be held accountable, and to hold your friends accountable in front of other people without being like, and now you're out.
Yeah, 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 for
You're out
sure.
forever. It won't work in a place this small to like kick people out of the
No,
city,
you
right?
can't. I mean, think accountability and canceling are two different things, though. And to be honest, like
Right.
cancel was just literally another black word that was just basically, nah, I don't mess with you no more
Yep.
like that. Like that's all it
Yep.
meant. Like it didn't mean I want to ruin your life. It just meant, nah, he canceled. I don't even mess with him. Like that's all it
Yeah.
was. It was just like, nah, I don't mess with that. That's it.
Yeah.
Like it literally is it. And then it got taken to like some whole other meaning. I'm like, bro, that's not even what it
Mm-hmm.
means. Just like woke, just like so many other
Yep.
words I can talk about. But
Mm-hmm.
I think that's good though. Like in terms of, I liked what you said about the civic piece and all of that because it is well, I guess small is all relative. I was just in Helena, Montana, and that's
Okay.
like
Smaller.
80. It's way smaller. So I mean, it's all relative, but also just that's such a great point about like, yeah, being in Tacoma, but there's so many little subcultures within the city. I feel like that in Civic one is just one part. Just like you said, oh, we know the mayor, but like it's like, yeah. And over here, these people don't even they're not even tracking at all. Like they're not
No.
even they're just focused on their little area of Tacoma
Yes.
and what they care about in horticulture or trees or
Right.
whatever. But at some point it crosses paths with the political spectrum because of the things that they'll want for their little subculture. Even
Well,
if
yeah,
it's a
and like
skate
you're
park, for
in
example.
education, right? Your background is education. So there's a whole world of who's the superintendent and who are the players in the
Yeah,
unions, and
that's a
like, right,
whole
like there,
world
and
in itself.
right, and JBLM, right, the world of who are the generals and who are the movers
Right.
and shakers
Yep.
and the mobfluencers, and
I mean, on
like
base,
there's a
yeah, that's a
culture.
whole world. Like when you go on base, that's literally its own whole world.
Exactly.
Like,
And these communities are all functioning alongside each other. And so this is why it does get, I'm sure, irritating to others when I make content about my experience of Tacoma as a downtown person. And like, this is what it's like for me. And they're like, that is nothing like what it's like for
yeah.
me. And it's like fair. Very fair. Like I'm a child-free girly living in a loft downtown. Like I'm probably
No,
having a different experience than a lot of people.
but I think most people, I think you'd rather have someone that at least is curious and self aware enough to take on a project like a move to Tacoma. I think that you're the right person to do that because I think that there's
Thank you, Dave.
so much because you just need to be self-aware and just be aware and just that's all I think that's all most people can ask for someone and be curious and yeah and just go from there. But I think what you've built is impressive and I think I'm happy to have you here at Abode too. Like that's still that was kind of a we didn't necessarily like quote unquote announce it but like yeah I guess
I
it's
just
announced now.
slipped in the back door.
It just slipped in the back door. I think I'm looking forward to, collaborating with the platform. And I think that,
Yes.
it's a great marriage in terms of just business and
Yes.
it's a full circle kind of moment and all the things. So yeah, really
Well,
excited.
and you have so many people at Abode who are so plugged in to so many different communities in and around Tacoma. Like it was so
Right.
great to just make a video with Mello Hogan about the East Side,
Yep.
and to mix that in with the podcast episode that I did about with Salong. Like these are all voices that have different perspectives on the neighborhood, and to combine them together with people who are credible, and like that's Abode. Abodes are credible. They're in the community. They're part of the communities they serve, and that's what I'm all about. Like putting people with the people that live there. That is the
Yep.
dream.
Yep. Try to. Well, thank you for that on Move to Tacoma. I have one last segment and then we'll tell people where to find you.
Okay.
Are you ready
Okay.
for this last segment?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
I didn't tell you about this. This is
Okay.
all right. It is called This or That, and I'm going to just give you two things, and you just have to pick one. It's really simple.
Okay.
It's really
Okay.
simple, and I think I'll do five. Okay. All right. Friends or Sex in the City?
Sex and the City.
You're sick.
Sex and the City is canceled.
Your 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 face. Oh
The
man.
X
Okay.
Files. My answer is the X Files.
How about this? Sarah McLaughlin or Alanis Morissette?
Alanis Morissette.
Okay. Okay. Let's go with Costco run or Target run.
Costco run, 100,000%. I can't even believe we're discussing this in 2026.
I'm just asking.
Is this
I'm
a
just
test?
asking.
Is this a cancellation test?
I'm just asking. All right. Let's say Beverly Hills 90210 or Dawson's Creek or Melrose
I didn't.
Place.
I was not allowed to stay up late enough to watch 90210. So I'm not,
Okay,
and I
so
was too old for Dawson's Creek. So
okay. All right, how about this one? Scrapbooking night or a wine tasting weekend?
is the wine tasting weekend like at a lodge? And is there a hot tub?
It's all the things you want, but
Yes,
the
wine
scrapbook,
tasting weekend.
but the scrap. I needed to
Wait,
talk up the
is the
scrapbooking
scrapbooking
night.
weekend? Am I alone by myself for
Yes,
the scrapbooking
yes,
weekend?
it's a
Okay,
yes.
that's very tempting.
All right, last one. And this is actually not a this or that. It's just more like I'd ask this question just to ask people like,
Okay.
which one do they like more? It says a lot about a person, in my opinion. What's the ratio of your peanut butter and jelly sandwich? Is it 60% peanut butter, 40% jelly, or 60% jelly, or 40%
Great
peanut
question.
butter? Or is it something else like 70% jelly and like 30% peanut butter?
It's it is a revealing question, and I'm afraid, I'm a very picky eater, and I am very particular about everything. So I will tell you, it is 80% peanut butter. It's just a zhuzhing of jelly. We're just adding a hint of sweetness. I
Wow.
don't want anything coming out the sides. I don't want anything getting on me. Like
Wow.
it's largely peanut butter. Yeah,
That's,
and honestly, like if I had my druthers, it would be peanut butter and honey.
I mean, peanut butter and honey does slap, but like,
Delicious.
how, and I live in a peanut butter household. So like, I don't understand. I can eat peanut butter like that. I just don't
Mhm.
understand on a sandwich how dry that is. Like that's so
I know,
dry.
and
Like
this
I
is
don't
no, it's a character flaw, Dave. I eat everything dry. I don't eat mayo.
really.
Like no, I'm a dry girly. It's terrible. Yeah, no. I actually like. I've really like when it comes to food, it is really my biggest character flaw in life. I'm very particular. I now that I'm living alone again, I literally eat the same meal every single night. Like I do not experience novelty through food. I am the worst.
Be that kind of that way. I would just have rice, and if it left up to me, I'd just have a pot of rice there and just eat rice and whatever,
Why? That is
even if it's
very
plain.
similar to what I'm eating every night.
She says she eating spam every night, spam and
Not spam.
rice. I know.
She's a vegetarian.
I know. All right. So, how do people find you if they want to learn more about Move to Tacoma or get in touch with you to buy or sell a home or get connected with an agent or something like that?
Yeah, if you go to movetotacoma.com, there's a button right on the main page to get on my calendar. If you want to find a real estate agent, I'll find you someone great. If you want to just connect online, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, I'm in all the places as Marguerite Martin or at Move to Tacoma.
Cool. We'll link those all down in the comments. And thank y'all for listening in today. This is Marguerite Martin from movetotacoma.com, who also now you can find in the Windermere Abode office as well. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, y'all be good. We'll see y'all next week. Peace. All right.